I'm here in a stand of eastern hemlock, and for any of you that have been out walking in the woods lately with a lot of hemlock in the area, you may have noticed that the bark on the trees are turning a funny orangish red color. Now, I noticed this happening about 15 years ago and didn't know quite what was happening at the time. Over here we can see a hemlock with normal bark with the standard grayish brown color. So around 2010, scientists in Connecticut and Massachusetts did a study, and they determined that it is a green algae that is growing in the bark on the trees, and the algae produces red and orange pigments that contributes to the color change. The study also pointed out that it predominantly happens on the south side of the tree, as well as trees that are in close proximity to water. Now in about 2016, scientists published a report that named this condition red bark phenomenon, RBP. And they weren't quite sure what was causing it, but they think it may be contributed to the global temperature increase, which was resulting in higher humidities and providing a space for the algae to start growing on these trees. The study says that it doesn't affect the health of the tree, but based on my experience, from the time you see it turning orange, it continues to get worse and worse over about 5 to 7 years, and eventually the tree dies, maybe 10 years. And here we have one of the finest examples of a healthy eastern hemlock here at Lost Creek. Probably one of my most favorite trees. Being a yard tree, it gets all the sun that it could ever need, and it's located close to the creek, so it gets all the water as well. I estimate this tree is between 80 and 90 feet tall, and somewhere between 100 and 150 years old. It's growing faster than your average hemlock that would be located in a shadier area deeper in the woods. Red bark phenomenon does not appear to be isolated in just the hemlock. It also seems to be affecting the white pine, and I've also seen beech showing signs. Here we have a white pine that's starting to show the orange discoloration. Here we have some hemlock trees that are in the advanced stage of the disease. You can see that they're red all the way around and all the way up. And if you looked up at the crown, you see that they're starting to deteriorate. These trees are about 5 years into the phenomena, so I give them another 2 to 5 years before they die. And here we have an example of a hemlock that succumbed to the disease. The woodpeckers have already started to remove the bark. After it died, and as you can see, the top is just dwindled to nothing but sticks and no needles. Dead. I was losing all my good trees in the property, so I was pretty upset, and I started searching for some type of treatment. I found no information available on the internet, but once I realized that it was an algae, I thought maybe I could treat it with an herbicide. I already use industrial grade vinegar for weed control in the driveway and killing poison ivy and other nuisance weeds around the property, so I thought I'd give it a shot and try to use some vinegar on the tree bark. I use vinegar for several purposes here at Lost Creek. On the driveway to kill the weeds in the grass, or attempt to kill the weeds in the grass in the driveway. I actually have spots where I'm trying to grow grass. It won't grow, but throw some limestone crush down in the driveway and you got more grass than you can shake a stick at. So I use it on the grass. It's good for killing poison ivy or any other weeds that are growing that you don't want. And in addition, recently I've been using it to treat the red bark phenomena in the hemlock and white pines and any other tree that's showing the red. So you can't use just regular vinegar that you get in household vinegar, cleaning vinegar. That's about 5% concentration, just not quite strong enough. So you can purchase more concentrated vinegar online and by the gallon. This jug here is 30% concentration, which is a little stronger than I use, so I would have cut this in half. I'm shooting for about 15% most of the time. But this vinegar here, it's a little more expensive. You're basically buying the water and paying to ship the water to you. So if you're going to use any amount at all, and it goes fast, trust me, you're going to want to get it in a larger quantity. So I bought a 55-gallon drum of the 30% at one time, but it cost a fortune because you're buying all that water. So we realized that we can buy 98% pure, 99.85% pure vinegar, or acetic acid is really the technical name for it. They call it glacial acetic acid, and you can get it in 5-gallon pails. I think it's about $250. Is that about right? Yeah. And then you put it into a larger vessel and dilute it to what concentration that you want. So if I'm shooting for 15% concentration, I put 5 gallons in there and fill up the barrel halfway for a total of 25 gallons. Will get you 20% concentration. If you fill it up 3/4 of the way, you get like 12% concentration. So somewhere in between there will get you your 15%. I mean, you can mix it to whatever concentration that you want that works for you. But when you're dealing with this 99% pure acid, it's very strong and it's dangerous. So I recommend full chem suit, gloves, and you have to use something to filter out the acid vapors, because when you're pouring that in there, they'll knock you out. You just can't hold your breath long enough to do it. You can't bear it. It's so strong. So I use a full face so that I can get eye protection at the same time filtering out. Make sure you have an acid vapor cartridge on your breathing mask. So after you've added the acid, you add the water, bring it up to, like I said, whatever concentration you want. I'm going to go a little over half. I did have some residue down in the bottom that I'm going to account for from old last year that was way diluted. It loses its concentration as it sits, so I recommend you buy only as much as you're going to use in about a year. So instead of wasting it, I use that as the dilution water. Then I have a barrel pump to pump it out in, and I've got some of my old containers here that I fill up with the diluted version, and I can use it as necessary. Saves you a few dollars a gallon, and also eliminates 30-gallon jugs. You know, you got one nice 5-gallon pail that you can reuse around the property. Got a couple of options to apply the 15% concentration vinegar. If you're just going to do a small job, a regular old bug sprayer will do the trick. These are kind of nice because when you pump them up, they keep pressure in them. But if you're going to do any amount at all, you're going to want to get something a little bigger. So I elected to get a Husqvarna backpack sprayer. And I'm pretty happy with it. I use it for the trees, and I also use it for spraying vinegar on the driveway. It's a little different though. You've got a hand pump here. Let's see if I can get the nozzle down. You actually, it takes a little bit, it doesn't pressurize the entire jug like the bug sprayer does. It has a little cylinder in there that pumps up. So as you're using it, you have to constantly pump. And you kind of get the feel for it after a while. I'm getting charged up now, and that's about as high as it goes. And then as you're spraying, every now and then you got to give a pump. And it becomes subconscious after a while. It's not that big of a deal. Unlike that one where you pump it like 20 times and then you can just go spray until it runs out. So I'm going to pump it up, and I recommend for when applying it, you're going to want a face shield for sure, because when you start getting up high, the little droplets can come down, and even though it's only 15% acetic acid, it can irritate the eyes pretty bad. And if you've got cotton clothing on, you're going to want to protect it with this Tyvek suit or coveralls, maybe non-cotton coveralls recommended. So little droplets will get on you and wreck your clothes. So this tree here needs it. Just basically let it down. So get a good soaking on it. As hard as you can reach. That should do it. Here we have a group of hemlocks that started to turn red about 4 or 5 years ago. Last year I sprayed the bottom sections with vinegar. You can see it had a dramatic effect. The area that was sprayed with vinegar is back to the normal gray color that hemlocks normally show, and the unsprayed sections are still turning red. So we're going to come back and reapply the vinegar with a ladder up higher. Hopefully this will save the trees, but only time will tell.